to Cinema Bastards. Your host Tyrese Pearson. I'm with Aidan Records.
Hello.
Um, so today, last week we talked about Rush Hour. And I'm like, okay, we're talking about buddy cop movies. Why not talk about the next one we mentioned like a little bit was Bad Boys, which Aidan never saw.
Nope, never have. I
And
watched them. Well, I didn't watch all of them. I watched the first two this week for this in preparation.
so before we actually get into like Bad Boys 1 and 2, I just want to talk about So you know how there's four, right? There's four of them. There's what was it? Bad Boys for Life and Ride and Die.
Yeah, and you know what's
And
you know what's weird about it, Tyrese? They're the
what?
release dates for all of the movies are so spread out. Because like
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at them and I was shocked because it's like 1995 was the first one, and then the second one came out in 2003, and then Bad Boys for Life came out in 2020, and then Ride or Die came out last year or 2 years, yeah, last year. And I was looking at that, it kind of had me like I looked up the Rush Hour movie franchise and when all those came out, and it's like so Rush Hour 1 came out in 98, Rush Hour 2 came out in 2001, and Rush Hour 3 came out in 2007. I thought the span from Rush Hour 2 to Rush Hour 3 was long. Imagine waiting from Bad Boys 2 to Bad Boys for Life. That was literally 17 years.
No, literally, and that's what brings up a topic that I was gonna wait to tell you because I'm like I don't want to text him this. I don't know, but I want to have say on the spot. So like pretty much, Aiden, what's your thoughts about movies nowadays that are like the original movie getting like sequels and add-ons like Bad Boys? I have a list of movies like Top Gun, Gladiator, Beetlejuice, 20 Years,
Oh, so
20 Days.
you want me to be mad? That's what you're asking me. You want me to be angry?
Oh yeah, like I want to know your thoughts. 'Cause I was looking at the list of movies, and like before, like the big ones did it. There's some small ones that did it too. And, like waited years to release like a sequel or a third movie. I was
So
like, I want
so
to know your thoughts
I
about it.
I while I don't hate the idea of sequels because there are sequels I do love. Like I said, last episode, I love Rush Hour 2. It's my favorite. That's a sequel. I don't hate sequels. What I hate is how it feels like every movie that has come out in the last, I don't know, 5 years has been a sequel or a part of a series. I feel like there are original movies, of course, but I feel like the original movies don't either get the publicity or they just like they're just never talked about, so you never know that they exist. And all the sequels like get talked about so much, or reboots. I like sequels. I am fine with. I don't like them as much, but reboots piss me off because reboots is like, wow, you really couldn't think of anything better to do, so you're gonna go back into this series, this movie or the show or whatever that has a bunch of fans, that has a bunch of history and a bunch of lore, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna be like, you know what? Let's just get rid of all of that. Let's make a whole new one in this alternate timeline or whatever, and just we'll do it that way. We'll call it a reboot, and I hate that so much. And you know who I blame for that? I blame Marvel because they did the whole fucking they did the whole multiverse thing.
Multiverse.
Yeah, the whole multiverse thing. So like now, whenever scriptwriters can't figure out a way to write themselves out of a pickle, they just go, oh, some sort of multiverse thing. I don't know. Like, and it happens a lot with the fantasy
No,
genre.
I
Like in the fantasy genre, it happens all the time. Like, I don't know how to write myself out of this pickle. It's just due to the multiverse. Sure, that works. It's like, no, you're being lazy. Your entire job is to write scripts. Figure out a way to write it so it makes sense. Don't just use a cop out.
no, I kind of disagree with you on that. Like, I agree with you because why wait so many years? Like, I get that you already have a script ready, but why wait so many years? And I feel like to me, it feels like it's cash grab. Some movies they do care about, and then some of them are like, "We'll just make it and make money off it," and it drives me nuts. Because like making them like making movies hard, but why take a name of a franchise and it has nothing to do with it? Like Gladiator 2, I heard that pretty much. So, it has nothing to do with the first one.
Well,
I mean, it
because
mentions
the first
the
movie,
main character.
I recently watched the first movie just because I was curious, and so I recently watched the first movie and it ends perfectly. The whole storyline wraps up in one movie, like a movie should. Marvel, like a movie should. Ends up in whole one movie ends up perfectly perfect. And then I was reading the synopsis of the second one because I was just curious, and it's like, it's like talking about the invasion of the Roman Empire when they get captured and stuff, and it's talking about the son of the the emperor's sister, of Marcus Aurelius' son's sister's his nephew, I guess, great grandson, whatever. Talks about him, and it's like he's like supposed to be the main character, and it's like, but he's technically the emperor. Like when Rome would have gotten invaded, he would have died. But
Oh,
okay, it's just like I don't know. I feel like the whole reason they did Gladiator 2 was just because they're like, we can do it. Why not? Let's just do it and see what happens. Like you were saying, they're kind of just like, fuck it. We have the money. This is a name. This is a name that we know can make money because how much people love the first one and how kind of diehard that fan base was, and they're like, let's just do a second one. It'll make money. It doesn't have to be a good like. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't like heard any reviews about it. I don't really know anyone that's watched the movie, but like, it seems like such a silly plot to me.
no, I get that. And with Glad, like, I think it's dumb. By the day, it's dumb. I mean, like, I plan on watching Gladiator 2 just because that's who, like, I mean, list of movies I want to watch from last year, 2024. So I gotta watch it. If I do, I'll let you know if it's shit or not,
Yeah, I mean, I hope you do
because it might be shit.
because I rewatched the first one and I'm like, man, I forgot how good this movie is. Like, it's so good. And then I looked at the
It
second
was a
one.
masterpiece.
Yeah, and I looked at the second one and I'm like, I just don't. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, but any last thoughts about, like, stuff like that, reboots and week rules and stuff like that?
So for sequels, I think it's a bit different because like for sequels, like there is a bit of it does take a bit of like for the most part for most sequels it does take a bit of like actual thought and like planning and stuff. But for reboots, I feel like it's just lazy writing on Hollywood's. It's just lazy on Hollywood's part. Like there's like we can just we can just do this. We have the ability to do it. Like we all know about how there are certain reboots that happen. It's like, why did that even need to happen? The first one was perfect. It was great. We don't. Why do we need to redo it? But it happens.
Yeah,
Like,
and
I'm gonna give you like a little. This is a reboot that I didn't know was a reboot for a while until I got into high school. But the movie The Longest Yard is the Adam Sandler one's a reboot. It was done by that movie was originally done by Burt Reynolds in oh man, when was it? 1974. It was originally in
it
1974.
was.
Yeah, and and the original one's really good. I've seen both, of course. I love Burt Reynolds, which is why in the second one, the Adam Sandler one, Burt Reynolds is in it as his character. Well, not as his character from the first one because his character in the first one is Paul Crew, but like there's a little callback in Adam Sandler's version of it, and like Adam Sandler's one's a comedy, and the original Longest Yard's more of a drama, more of like it's actually about like it kind of takes it more seriously, which that's why like when when Adam Sandler did reboot it or do stuff like that, I allowed it. I'm cool with it more because he did take it 100% the comedy route because it's Adam Sandler, so he's had a bunch of his friends out there and had a bunch of like wrestlers and ex football players and stuff. So it was like it's a reboot, but it's also like it's kind of like a parody kind of reboot, I think, because the movie doesn't really take itself that seriously. But it is a reboot.
Yeah,
I didn't know
I,
that.
you know what? Shocking to me because I love Long Summer.
Yeah.
This one, like, it's not my favorite movie, but it's like up there on my list.
Yeah, it's yeah, because like I've watched Longest Yard for a while because Adam Sandler movies, everyone goes up on Adam Sandler movies. But when I was watching, I got into like Burt Reynolds and stuff because I like watched Smoking the Bandit, loved it. Watched the second one, started watching more Burt Reynolds movies, and so he had The Longest Yard on there. Oh, the original one, not because he also has a cameo in the second one and the reboot. But I was watching the original one, I'm like, wow, this movie's like actually really good as well. I mean, it's not like as funny because it's not comedy focused, but it is very good. Very good movie. I recommend.
I might have to watch the original one because I didn't know that, like, until, like, I think you told me now. I didn't know there was, and that's why, like, I guess the dude, like you said, him coming back in the reboot, it was a big deal. I didn't know why. But we can start talk about Bad Boys now. Aiden, any more you want to say about it? about reboots, sequels, anything like that? Before we get into it.
Um, well, I'm gonna talk about it because I haven't really seen either really, but like how last year they remade the Crow movie with Skarsgård, and the original one was Brendan Brendan Lee. I need to watch both.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I need
yeah.
to watch the Crow. I never actually watched it.
The Crow yeah, the one with Bill Skarsgård is a reboot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need to watch. I haven't seen either of them, but I need to watch them. Just a movie that.
Well, yeah. Which also talk about reboots. I was gonna wait to talk about this. We'll probably bring it back up again. But you know what reboots drive me the most nuts? Disney live action.
I agree.
At that point,
Like usually my complaint about reboots and sequels, like whenever I complain about a reboot and sequel nowadays, it's usually the reboot and sequels that are done by the big studios. And I know it sounds kind of redundant because like of course the big studios are doing reboots, they own all the brands, but mainly it's like the ones with Disney where they take like the old nostalgic movies and they like make a reboot, like a live action reboot, or they'll make a sequel that is just egregiously bad.
or
It's
even a prequel, like the Mufasa movie that came out last year,
Yeah, or do a prequel.
not needed.
Yeah, it's there's like usually whenever I complain about reboots or I complain about sequels, it's usually specifically with the Disney owned movies that come out because like I'm gonna be honest, ever since Endgame, there's been like two Marvel movies I've enjoyed, and that's like I enjoyed Shang Chi and then um okay. Now I can't think of the other one, but whatever. But like ever since like I feel like ever since Endgame, Marvel movies have kind of just been meh. Like, they've been very meh. Like
They haven't really like been the same.
they don't have the same feeling. They don't have. I feel like literally what they're doing with all the Marvel movies and most of the Marvel TV shows is it's just a cash grab. They're just like, hey, we're just gonna because it's what they did. It's what they did with Star Wars. They're like, hey, this is brand recognition. I know if we put out something, people will watch it and they'll pay for it. And it's like, well, it happens,
Oh,
but it's not something that's great. I don't think. Yeah, yeah. That's just
no,
my
I
opinion.
100% agree. Especially bringing back like Rob Downey Jr. for another movie after he's dead. And like, what's the point killing off a character that we like knew until now, and then you bring him back to play villain?
Yeah, there's a lot of
Like,
stuff.
I'm interested.
There's a lot of stuff with Disney owned Marvel that I think is stupid because like Marvel originally, they kind of took a lot of these actors that were either new actors and brought them up to stardom, or took them that kind of had waned like RDJ and brought them back up to stardom. And then nowadays they kind of just grab other established actors already, or grab other actors that have already been established by Marvel, and they'll bring them into it. It's like no, you guys used to like create stars, not just steal stars or reuse stars. Like go back to what you guys were doing, please, because I'm gonna be honest. I have like after Shang Chi, I haven't watched a Marvel movie, and like I keep seeing the ads.
Really?
I haven't. I keep seeing the ads for the new Winter Soldier, or not Winter Soldier.
Oh, the Captain America.
Yeah, the new Captain America, and like it it looks cool, but like I probably won't watch it until it gets put on Disney Plus, and even then it will be after like I've run out of other movies to watch. Just because like that's how low of a priority new Marvel movies are. It's just something that doesn't interest me.
See, like I said, I'm a big Marvel guy, but I'm not sure I will go to the movies for to watch that just because one, it's Valentine's Day, and two, I just don't have time anymore. Especially with a baby, I just don't have time.
It's just I mean like I think because like Falcon became Captain America after Endgame, right? When he's like, yeah, here's the shield, yours now, and then I feel like that was a silly idea to do on Disney's part because like you're taking away Captain America, and you could have given it to anybody. You could have literally like because you have the whole multiverse thing. You could have just freaking done something with that, or you could have done like, hey, this is the new Captain America, and just grab some young star, some young actor, and made him Captain America. But no, you're like, hey, let's take the title of Captain America, and let's give it to an already established superhero that's already been in a few movies, and like already has his own TV show. Let's just take him and let's turn him into Captain America. Just get rid of Falcon entirely. Like he still has all the Falcon powers and stuff, but he's now Captain America. I think that's stupid.
They could have used Bucky. Like, in the comics, Bucky does become Captain America.
Yeah, they could have done a whole lot of stuff because there's like the Captain America comics have been around since World War II. Like they're or not maybe it's 60s, I guess, maybe not World War II, but they've been around for a while. And it's like you could. There's so many different versions of like because comics go everywhere. There's never just one storyline. Like you could literally do anything, but no, you're like, hey, let's take this super established, super beloved superhero of Captain America, and let's give that title to a different superhero, and then just kind of erase the old hero's like name and just call him Captain America. I think it's so lazy and so boring. They could have done something so much cooler, like giving to Bucky. Yeah, that has happened in the comics, but like it would have been better if they like did something like revived, like did some sort of way like modern military revived that specific program and made one more super soldier and just had like a line of super soldiers like that passed down the Captain America name or something like that, because then it would have had so many more different storyline opportunities. I feel like it was just kind of they kind of just did that, and it was kind of boring, and it made me lose interest in not only the Captain America franchise, but also kind of made me lose interest in Falcon as well, because it kind of just took away his entire character. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
And it kind of made
me. Before we go on any more tangents, we should we'll get into the bad boys because we could talk all day about Marvel reboots and all that.
True.
But let's get into bad boys. So I did Rotten Tomatoes again on each one. And I want to know your thoughts because I'm curious to what you're going to say about what I'm going to tell you. So the first Bad Boys, the Rotten Tomatoes, the critic score was a 43%, and audience score 78%. Then Bad Boys, the second one, Bad Boys 2, is 24% audience score, but 78%. 24% critic, 78% audience. Then the third one, 76% critics, 96% audience, and then the fourth one, 65% critics, 97% audience. And what's your thoughts about that, Aidan?
I feel like being a film critic is such a non-job. It's so silly. And then with the audience scores, can you read the audience scores back just for the first two?
Yeah. So the first two are both 78%.
Oh, okay. I can see it. I mean, I do think the first one was better than the second one, because the second one about I liked it a whole lot up until the point where they had to go into Cuba. Everything up until then was great. But when they had to go to Cuba to do that stuff, I didn't like that part much. Because then it switched from being a cop movie to being a pseudo-military movie. Because cops, there's no jurisdiction there. It's strictly illegal what they were doing. But
no, I agree with you on that. But see, I'm the opposite. I like the second one more than the first one.
That's fair.
I don't know why. And then, the other two the other two we didn't watch. I mean, I watched them before, but we both said since so much, and I should have broke it up of each episode, that we're not going to talk about them as much, but I will read this overview on what they're about, and then I remember what they're about, because I watched them not long ago. But for the first Bad Boys, I'll go over the overview of what the story is about, and then we can get into it.
Okay, sounds good.
It's about Miami data detectives Mike Lowry, who played by Will Smith, and Marcus Burnett, played by Mark Lawrence. Both used when $100 million worth of heroin. They recently confessed it. Confessed? I don't know. Can't read. I'm illiterate. Is hesitated from situation headquarters, suspecting it was a inside job. And internal affairs gives them 5 days.
Go back to that word you couldn't read. No. Go back to that word. What was it again?
Confet. Yeah, bro.
Confiscated.
Again, I'm illiterate.
Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Passive. You know what? Anyway, suspecting it was an inside job. Internal internal affairs gives them 5 days to track down the drugs before they shut down the narcotics division. Action being faced when Marcus is compelled to ma- masquerade his partner in order to gain the trust of a call girl who's played by Tia Lenny, a key witness in their investigation. Sorry, I know that was a struggle for you to listen to that.
Masquerade.
Again, I'm sorry. There's people listening. I'm sorry. I know. I need to do better.
Trust me, people, audience. It's not easy for me. I have to try to piece together what he's saying as well and translate it in my head. It's a bit rough over here. As a co-host, I'm sitting there. I'm like, what? Like, I was sitting there thinking back to the movie, like, okay, the plot, and I'm like, what? That word makes no sense. Okay, now I know what the word means when you read it later. Okay, I get it. It's very confusing.
I'm not gonna. Well, I'm not gonna lie. When I first watched it, like first time I watched it, I don't remember. I was a kid, but rewatching it again, Mark Lawrence and Will Smith like together is a good duo. Like in the beginning, like you don't know they're cops yet. They're just talking, like what friends would do, talk shit, just having a good conversation. And then like when the car heads up, spoilers. If you haven't watched Bad Boys, first one, you should do it.
If you haven't watched Bad Boys,
but when it
first pulled up, 1990, movie's been out since before either of us were born. Watch the damn movie.
Literally. But when the people pull up on them, they're like, "Well, we're cops." It's like they are, and then they're just talking shit. And then I thought it was funny. I'm like, it kind of remind your friendship how we be talking shit to each other.
Yeah, it's just like
and
it's just like our friendship where I'm driving the car and you're making a mess in my car. For reference, Tyrese can't drive. He doesn't have his license yet.
Yeah.
He doesn't have his license yet, but he still pays for it. Yeah, so I had to drive everywhere, and it was fun.
Sitting there. I was your passenger princess.
Yeah, he's sitting there in the passenger seat with his seat back, just kind of kicked up, chilling, and I was like, man, this motherfucker.
Sleeping.
This motherfucker. Fucking watching TikToks without any headphones in while I'm listening to my music. I'm like, brother, I'm going to punch you in the balls. Because that's a big pet peeve. That's a big pet peeve of mine. Is when people are in public or like we're somewhere else where someone's actively watching something and they're watching TikToks or something extremely loud. It's like, brother, grab some AirPods or some headphones or something and put them in. Like, shit, it's so rude and it pisses me off. It's a big pet peeve.
I'm sorry, Aidan.
Well, yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Bro, what's your thoughts about the first movie?
First movie was good.
Since you never watched it.
I liked the first movie. I thought it was very good. It's a very good introduction. It kind of makes sense. The plot makes a lot of sense. Miami drugs. So it's historically accurate, currently accurate. But it very very good movie. Very funny. I'm not sure if it's I don't know if this is like a bias, just a nostalgia bias or something, but I don't think I laughed as much as when I watched Rush Hour, but I'm not sure if that's because like this is the first time watching it or if it was just something about like cause like the relationship was very good between the two, the chemistry between Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
Yep.
Too many Martins out there, it's confusing. And so like it was very good chemistry, but and they're both funny actors. But I feel like since they're both funny actors, it kind of downplayed the comedy aspect of it more. Because like with Rush Hour, it's like Chris Tucker, who is strictly comedy actor, comedian. Like that was his whole shtick. And then there's Jackie Chan, who's all like the action and everything. And I feel like the chemistry between those two on film made the funny parts way more funny because it was Jackie Chan's character unintentionally being funny, and then Chris Tucker just being funny because that's just what he does. So I feel like while this movie was funny and it was a very good movie, I don't think it was exactly like as funny as when I was watching Rush Hour, first Rush Hour. not to, I'm not like putting this movie down that it's bad or anything. It's a great movie, and I think it was directed well, and it was very entertaining, kind of very hooked on. It was very funny that they had to masquerade as each other. That was funny and brought a lot of funny moments, like when Martin Short was really mad because thinking Will Smith was banging his wife, and called up and they're talking about the photo albums and stuff. Like, I'll put it back in and stuff. Oh, that was funny. That was funny. I enjoyed that.
No, yeah. I did like that scene. Or like my favorite scene was like the gas station, and it was improvised saying, we want Bubblicious
Oh
gum."
yeah, like when they go to that liquor store type store, or yeah, or whatever. It's
Because
like,
they're sitting there arguing, going back and forth, and the guy pulls a gun out and
and
say
like
like, get
what was even funnier about that scene is when when they pulled out their guns and stuff, and they're still kind of bickering back and forth, and then it's like, yeah, give me the Bubblicious gum, and whatever. It's like, it was just so funny because like so many times in the first movie, I don't remember it happened that as much in the second movie, but it happened a lot in the. I feel like it happened a lot more in the first movie. Like when it was like they were under the gun a lot more, being held up a lot more, and just making jokes, bickering back and forth. But the guy who's kind of sticking him up, just like, can we focus on me now? It was just funny.
yeah. Well, what are your thoughts with Michael Bay directing? I have mine, but like, Michael Bay, big,
I
not was he big at the time?
no, actually, I have a little because you asked me to look up some facts about this. I found a fact about Bad Boy 1. This was the first movie that Michael Bay was featured on as a director. So this is his first directing credit for movies.
Damn.
And it very much shows it because I feel like in Bad Boys 1, it's way more subtle, way less Michael Bay-y. Like, there's not as many big-ass explosions or big old gunfights and stuff, which I think that's why I liked Bad Boys 1 more than Bad Boys 2, because Bad Boys 2 does have a whole lot more of the Michael Bay-esque twist to it, whereas all the explosions and all the gunfights and all the driving scenes and of course the stuff that happened in Cuba, and like so like that's why I think I like Bad Boys 1 more than I did Bad Boys 2, just because it is still Michael Bay directing it. I think he did a good job, especially him allowing them to do as much improv as they did. I think that was really good on his part, and it was really nice just because he was more a subdued version director of himself than he is in his later movies. That's not to discredit his later movies. I still love a lot of Michael Bay's movies. Like the explosions and everything. It's kind of silly and everything, but it's fun just to watch. Turn your brain off and watch. I enjoy it.
Which like with the first, like I agree with the first one. Like, the second one, I was watching it. I'm like, I was also gonna say like it felt like there was too much gunfights and explosives. But I'll wait till we get to the second one.
Yeah, because like. Well, in the second one, there's like 5 or 6 different scenes when they're driving through Miami or whatever, and they just getting straight up gunfights in the road, and the cars exploding and stuff. It's like, yo, that's not happening in Miami all the time. There's not just random ass gunfights breaking out between cops and cartel members like in the streets of Miami, and then going on big old high speed chases with a bunch of cars blowing up. That doesn't happen a lot, but.
Well, like with your fact, I got 2 facts I found about Michael Bay about this movie. One was
I also have a different another fact that not about Michael Bay but about the first movie. It's about the
yeah. Me too. I got 2. I got 3 before 2 about Michael Bay and 2 about the film.
Okay, well, let me say my last one because I technically said 2 facts in that one where I talked about Michael Bay's movie, but the last fact I found about this movie is that the Porsche is actually Michael Bay's car. Like, that was his car that he had them use in the film.
Really?
Yeah, that's his car. That was his Porsche.
That's funny.
Yeah, nice Porsche. Oh,
it was
something else while I'm talking about cars. Like the scene where they're doing all the fast driving and stuff? Oh, That broke my heart because that was the other car they used in that. It looked like it was a Shelby, one of the Shelby American cars, like a Shelby Cobra or something. And it was so sad seeing that thing get shot up and flip over. Because like there's not many of those in the world, and there's such a beautiful car. It's such a beautiful car, Shelby American.
It's just crazy, like.
Yeah, because like as someone who loves a lot of cars, I'm not like a car guy, but I love cars. I saw that and I'm like, no, wait, please, no, not that car, please. No, that one's. There's not many of those around, and they're so expensive. It's so beautiful.
Even back then, it wasn't a lot of them around.
Well,
Nineteen ninety five.
Shelby American still exists as a company, but they like, and you'll see this when we watch Ford v Ferrari eventually. But they were never a huge manufacturing company. Like they manufactured cars, but I think they only manufactured like around 1,000 maybe of like all their cars ever. Here, let me look that up. Like they didn't manufacture a whole lot of cars. Here. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna talk about.
Well, I was gonna say I was
Well, yeah.
reading up that Michael.
There's not a whole lot of them, and like the big problem with a lot of them now, with the Shelby American, with most Shelby American cars that aren't just tune-ups of Mustangs and stuff, is that they were taken by collectors and just thrown in warehouses to collect value. Like kind of like a lot of collectors do, which is depressing. But like, so there's not a lot of them that are in the market, and weren't a lot made originally. There's also not a lot on the car market. The ones on the car market usually aren't the best, or they're super, 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 super expensive, like millions of dollars. But okay,
Damn.
continue where you're going. That's my little tangent.
I was gonna say too that Michael Bay. So for one, I don't know what scene, but he used his own money for a specific scene he wanted for the first one, which I thought was interesting. And the second one was that Michael Bay actually encouraged Will Smith and Martin Lawrence to improvise most of the lines. So like the gas station scene was improvised by Will Smith and Lawrence.
That was also one of the ones I found. I kind of rolled it into one of my other ones when I was talking about his filming style and allowing them to improvise a lot. I found that one as well.
Which explains a lot when you watch his films with specific actors. Because like if you watch Transformers, I'm like, there's no way Shia LaBeouf did not improvise most of those lines.
It takes a lot. It also takes a lot of trust on the director to allow improvisations, because like there are certain directors that just refuse to allow people to improv. Like famously, Tarantino famously refuses to let people improvise. There have been a few people he has broken that rule for, but like for the most part, he famously refuses to let actors improvise because he wrote the script. He wants the movie the way he wrote it, which is understandable. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting that way how he allowed, because he's allowed a lot of people to improvise in his movies. It's very cool, very telling of how much he believed in the talents of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
Which the only reason why Will Smith they fall by him because Fresh Prince.
Makes sense. I mean, outside of Fresh Prince in '95, the only thing he really had was his rap career. Like I don't think he did many movies before.
He did Wild Wild West.
Did he do Wild Wild West? I could never remember when Wild Wild West came out.
Well, it was Men in Black 2000s.
Let's see. Hold on. He did.
Because I know he turned down The Matrix.
When did the first? So Wild Wild West came out in '99, and
no, then this might be his first.
When did Men in Black come out? I can't find. Where's the first one? Why does it keep telling me the second, third one? Where's the first one? Tell me the first Men in Black, please. Yeah. So
1997.
Okay. Yeah. So this one was what was the first big movie he was in. Was Bad Boys and Independence Day and stuff. But so yeah, this is because before then it was just his rap career and Fresh Prince.
Yeah, I'm looking at his filmography right now, and I think Bad Boys was his first film.
Well,
I don't see any
3 that were before them, but I've never heard of these. Like Where the Day Takes You. I think this must have been a minor role. Like I don't think. Yeah, I think that he had some minor roles in three other movies, like from 1 in '92 and 2 in '93. But
Made in America.
Like I know Made in America, but I don't remember him being a big star in that. I think he was a minor character in that, if I remember right. But Bad Boys and then Independence Day, From '95 on, pretty much is when all of his stuff really popped out. Really, his career popped off, movie wise.
Yeah, speaking of Will Smith, since we're on his topic, I don't know your thoughts because I know a lot of people have been talking about it, and I don't know if I ever asked you. What was your thoughts him slapping the fuck out Chris Rock at the Oscars?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't I don't care.
Okay,
Like
because I was thinking about.
because to me that's the same like him slapping Chris Rock at the Oscars. That's I mean one it's the Oscars, so who really gives a shit besides like Hollywood people. Like most people don't even watch the damn Oscars. I don't even know when the Oscars are on. I don't even remember what they're like. Are they about film? I don't even remember what the hell they're about.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so like it's like a lot of those those award shows. People don't really watch them much. Like their viewership's never that big, and so it's like, wow, when he slapped Chris Rock, like I guess I kind of understand when people are like, oh, that's so unprofessional, that's so bad. It's like, yeah, but like, I mean, yes, his marriage with his wife is not good, but like at least he was standing up for her. I mean, that's got to count for something. Like at least to his character. Like yeah, she may not be the best, and their relationship definitely isn't the best. But like, it's kind of good that he did that in a way. Like he probably should have handled it better, but like it's just a slap. It really wasn't like it could have been way worse. He could have walked out and knocked him out with a punch.
True.
Like yeah, it's still like
Well, I feel like,
it's still like a battery charge or whatever. It's still not good. It's still not good by any means. But I don't think it should have been blown up as big as it was because it's like, I mean, stuff like that stuff like that happens in between friends and like they were friends. I'm not sure if they still are, but they were friends and stuff. So, like stuff like that happens. Where you kind of like get enough pressures build up from like outside or something like that, and you get poked at just a bit too much, and you kind of have to blow off a little bit of steam. Like it happens. It's not that uncommon. It's not that nothing really that bad. I don't think. I think it was blown out of proportion.
no, ever since that I feel like it did kind of fucked up his career because he was gonna make the fourth Bad Boys. They had to stop because no one like they were scared. Okay, if we do it now and release it, we're scared people won't come see it.
Which I feel
So having that,
I feel that was a silly idea because like while that was like a big thing, got a lot of publicity. After they released it, people would just have forgotten. Like the memory for stuff like this really isn't that long, because like I feel like literally like a month or two after that happened, mine's like the memes of the slapping meme, like the actual incident was like never talked about. Like I feel like it's rarely brought up, and most people don't remember it much because like there's so much other shit that happens in life that is actually important that like it's easy to forget about that because that's kind of just like a little funny, like haha, that's kind of funny. He slapped him. It's not really that big of a, in my opinion, it's not really that big of a deal. It's kind of just it happens, oopsies, oopsie whoopsie type thing.
the way I found out, I was on TikTok. My mom said to me, I'm like, "Is this real? Is this a publicity?" Like, I didn't think it was real. I thought it was funny though. Like the way he slapped him was funny.
And like I'm not fully convinced it was not a publicity stunt. I feel like it could have started as that, and then like as people saw, as Will Smith and Chris Rock saw the negative feedback initially, I feel like that's kind of when they're like, ooh, let's turn this so it's not something that is not doesn't look like it's something that we planned. Let's make it seem like it's something that oopsie happened. Like, oh, this wasn't supposed to happen. Like, it's really not that deep of a thing, to be honest. Like that those kind of things tend to happen in guy friend groups. It just happened this time. It happened filmed in front of thousands of people, and that's not great. But it's could have been worse.
Well, I have to agree. I would have to agree with you that I mean, like, yeah, I guess I get why he has to pay a fine and take out Academy, and but after that, it's like he did, by the end of the day he did to himself. He knew he was doing. I get why he did it. He did it to himself, and I don't think with people with with the social media nowadays with reposting it and don't know what like the real story behind it, kind of didn't help him at all.
I also think like a lot of it Because, like, yes, Chris Rock was telling jokes, but they were jokes that weren't. I don't think they were jokes he probably should have been telling, especially to your, supposed friend's wife in that public setting. Because, like, everyone, of course, everyone goes through, like, says jokes and stuff that, like, go over a line and, like, kind of regret it a bit, but, like, thankfully, 90% of the time people do those jokes, it's not in front of a live audience. So, like, you kind of can look like, oh, sorry about that, I meant to go over the line there. But this one, I feel like, was over the line, and I feel like Chris Rock should have known that, because he is a stand-up comedian. He should have known what's over the line, what's not. Because that's kind of like, that was his job. That, like yes, I get, like, that it's Chris, I get that Will Smith should have been way better with his actions. I'm not trying to, like, justify any of his actions or anything. I'm just saying that, like, it's something that, like, no party's really innocent there. They all kind of contributed to it. Like, Chris Rock was making jokes, like, doing crowd work and stuff, like, ha ha ha. But, like, there are some things you probably shouldn't cross about. Like, I don't know. That's just my opinion. Like, was the joke funny? Fuck yeah, it was funny, and I laughed. But, I mean,
if you think it was someone else, say, like,
I'm probably not the best standard for it, because I find a lot of stuff funny. It's probably shouldn't be funny.
Yeah, but if you thought it was, like, say, like, Dave Chappelle said it or Kevin Hart said it, you think it would be a big deal than it was, or no? Or even, like, those, if it wasn't Chris Rock, say it was, like, a comedian known for those type of jokes. But you're not saying Chris Rock does it, but you know what I mean? You think he would do the exact same thing to those people, or no?
I wouldn't really, I don't really feel comfortable speculating with that. I feel like with Dave Chappelle, he probably wouldn't have slapped him. I'm not sure, because I don't know. The thing I don't know is, I don't know the friendship levels between, because you kind of knew the friendship level between Chris Rock and Will Smith. It was kind of like, it was kind of public about how close, how tight they were for friends. But I have no idea if Will Smith and Dave Chappelle are even friends, and the same men's. I have no idea about Kevin Hart either. Like, I imagine if it was one of those two that said it, depending on the friendship level, then it probably would have played out the same way. But if not, then it probably would have been like a private, like, hey, don't do that. Because it really does depend on how close you are to the person, about how much a joke affects, or how much, because, like, how much something like that happens. Because this is also, like, wasn't the Oscar slap thing around the same time that, like, all the infidelity stuff became public?
Yeah.
So, like,
it was.
There was a lot of emotions that Will Smith had. I would imagine that kind of, like, a lot of emotions about that, his whole relationship with his wife and everything, and then to have a decent friend make a joke like that on national television probably didn't help anything at all. Probably felt like a little breach of trust or something like that. I don't know, because there's a whole lot of, like, the brain's weird. There's a whole lot of stuff that happens with the mind.
But yeah, but another. I want to try to get off the Will Smith topic, but I just saw that Will Smith almost didn't get the role. That was his name. I can't say his name. Arsenio Hall, who was like a talk show, who had his own talk show, almost got the role over Chris Rock. Or not Chris Rock, Will Smith. My bad.
For Bad Boys.
Bad Boys. Yep.
Really, I don't know.
Which
that.
I
don't know that.
When I was thinking about that,
I don't think I know the other guy. What's his name?
You ever watch Coming to America?
No.
Was Eddie Murphy? Oh, okay, never mind.
No.
His name is Arsenio Hall. He has like he had a talk show host at one point.
I feel like I've heard the name. I just don't think
Hold on. I'll find a picture and send to you because it's.
I spelled his name wrong. Okay, I think I do know him, but I don't think I know him. I think I've seen something he's in. I feel like I recognize him. Oh, he's in Black Dynamite. That's why I recognize him. What a funny
Black Dynamite.
What a funny movie to recognize someone from.
Yeah.
It's a good movie.
But you think? I don't think he could do as well as Will Smith did in this movie. He's a funny guy, but I don't think he could do it.
especially for who the character he was supposed to portray. Because like like Will Smith's character is like the playboy character, the pretty boy. I don't
Hmm.
think Arsenio Hall could have portrayed that well because he doesn't have the same look, the same like kind of cocky attitude. Like, he probably could have put it on the cocky attitude, but I don't think he has the looks exactly for the character um, that Will Smith played.
No, I don't think he does either. But back to like, would you say there was any positives or negatives about the? Oh, negatives. I would say negatives. Aiden. You got any negatives about the film? The first one, at least.
Um, Really the only negative that I had, and I mean, it was kind of the just a character problem that I had. It was the character of the girl that was like the last witness. Like I just didn't. I found it hard. Both like it made me bounce around a lot between liking her and absolutely freaking hating her. Because like some things she'd do, but oh, that's base. That's cool. Like in the nightclub scene when she like was about to shoot the dude, based. Her absolutely refusing to go into like the witness protection or custody protection, whatever that one was, stupid, and really annoying. And the fact that she would only talk to Will Smith's character, or who she thought was Will Smith's character, was very annoying as well. Like, it's like there's just some stuff that's like, okay, it's just it's like I wanna like you, but also like you make it really hard because you're so annoying.
No, I get that. I thought her like there's something she did. I'm like, oh my gosh, like you did this to yourself type. If you just listened to them, they would have helped you. And kind of like the film kind of established too that Will Smith's character is like the top guy, and Martin Lawrence's character they're both top guys, but you knew like they never knew who Mike was.
Yeah, something I liked more in the first like the reason another reason I think I like the first one more besides the whole like there's less silly kind of action stuff and international law breaking. I think another reason I liked the first one more is because the department had more. It seemed like they had more trust in those two. Because in the second movie, there's like almost every move they make that's like the department's like, no, this is bad, this is stupid, you shouldn't do this. This is a horrible idea. You're gonna completely ruin our department. And it's like, but brother, his our entire job is drug stuff. Why, if it's really hard to do drug stuff if you keep cuffing our hands and not allowing us to do drug stuff. So like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I liked the first one better than the second one. Kind of another reason.
So we can jump into the second one because if you want to, because
Yeah, let's go.
I literally just watched it and I was watching. I'm like, the only problem well about the whole movie is the too many gunfights and too many explosives.
Yeah, the natives I have for two. I only got like two or three. Is I didn't like how many gunfights there were, how much like how many cars exploded. Wasn't a big fan of the international law breaking, like when they as vigilantes went to Cuba to hunt to. I sort of get why they did it. They did it to get back Martin Lawrence's sister, but also it's also just like you kind of just can't do that. You can't just go there with a whole bunch of like fully automatic weapons and explosives and stuff and just wreak absolute havoc and including killing Cuban military. Very big no. And then the third thing I didn't like very much. I just didn't like the fact that they even went like I feel like the movie didn't need to go in the direction of having to go to Cuba. And like I feel like they could have left that part out entirely. Like and the movie would have been so much better just because all the stuff they did in Cuba was strictly like the kind of like the first half 3/4 of the movie is like a lot of police work. It like actual like kind of stuff that a little bit exaggerated, but still sort of in the realms of possibility of police stuff. But then as soon as they have to go to Cuba, it's like okay, now this is just straight up a military operation. This has zero.
See, let me. I was going to say. I'll read the overview so people know like at least the story about is about. I mean, you kind of like got it on the nose about the story. But the it goes the drug ecstasy is flowing into Miami, and police wanted it stopped. Police detective Marcus Burnett and his partner Mike Laurie, are just the men to do it. They track the drugs to a Cuban smuggler Johnny Tapia, who is also involved in a bloody war with Russian and Haitian monsters. If that isn't bad enough, there's tension between the two cops because Laurie is romantically in love with Burnett's sister Sid, which I thought that was interesting for their friendship because they're like really good friends, like brother level, and it's like you're dating his sister, but he doesn't know about it behind his back.
Yeah, yeah, that part was I kind of like I kind of liked how Martin Lawrence's character dealt with it because he's kind of like, well, it's already happening. Like, there's no reason to stop it. It's already happening. He's like, well, you guys are both adults.
Even
You guys are both adults, I guess. So it's like, whatever.
even Martin Lawrence's character, like in the movie too, he's going through like this whole like change of he wants to be a better person and stuff like that. He does that throughout the whole movie franchise. Like he'll go through these changes. Let's say like in the third one he retires because he doesn't want to kill anyone because he doesn't think God wants in that. And in fourth one he almost dies because he had a midlife crisis. He almost died. He got a heart attack and realized like I'm invincible because I survived and God made sure I was alive. So this scene, like his little change of like you can see it like during the Haitian scene where he's punching the dude and he's like, "Hey, like I'm sorry, this ain't me. Like I'm just upset right now. I shouldn't have done it."
Yeah.
And he just wanted to talk.
Yeah.
But what was your like with that shootout scene that house? I thought was really good.
You talking about like the in Cuba, or talking about the one?
Yeah, well, no,
The Haitian.
the Haitian house.
Yeah, that one was really cool. The one like where they're trying to get the information, and Will Smith's character's like, yeah, like you can't kill the last guy alive just because he's not talking. It's like because dead bodies don't talk. He's like, well, this guy's not talking either. I think, well, fair enough, I guess. Kind of got him there.
It was so funny. And I think some of the jokes did hit. Some of them did hit, but not really.
Yeah, I feel like this one, it still had the comedy element, of course, because it's hard not to with those two actors. But I feel like it leaned way heavier onto the action side than it did comedy side.
No, it for sure did. I agree with you on that one.
I found some
but
interesting stuff about the movie though. So the first
you
thing,
did?
first thing I found that was interesting about this one is that Bad Boys 2 had 100 million, had their budget was $100 million more than the original movies was, and when I found that, I'm like, that's kind of makes sense about why the movie had so many explosions and stuff. Then it makes a lot of sense now. And then another thing I found was that the driver of the crap car, like the one that
Yeah.
So the driver of that car was Michael Bay.
It was?
Yeah, kind of cool.
So he makes a little cameo?
Yeah, made a little cameo as the driver of the first car that Marcus tries to steal. And then of course Dan Marino.
That's funny.
Of course Dan Marino makes a cameo as well because he's there when they steal the Cadillac. And then third thing I found interesting. So this was, of course, they didn't actually film the Cuban scenes in Cuba. Duh, not really the best relations with Cuba, especially. But so the stuff about the filming other parts in Cuba, they simulated it in Puerto Rico, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is.
I feel like
I have to agree with you on that.
I feel like Puerto Rico is not really a big film location scene. It may be. I just feel like it's not a big one. I feel like it's kind of expensive to film there. It's not that big of an island. What about you? What kind of facts?
Yeah. For this one, I didn't find really any. I was trying to, and like I couldn't find any facts for the second movie. But I did thought it was interesting that I guess one of the scenes I did like was Reggie. The Reggie scene where he's like, this some shit I can see me you do of, he's trying to take his daughter out and they're both kind of trying to scare him.
I mean, hey, when your daughter gets to that kind of age, it's gonna be Yeah, that scene will be recreated, I imagine. I just got out of prison. I'll go back.
Yes.
I'll go back. I don't care.
And he
I'm
says,
just.
"You ever kiss a man?" He's like, "No."
You want
Do
to?
you wanna?
I said. You know what's funny? After he said that, I went yes. Like audibly went yes, and I'm like, I was
Okay, I don't
I
say.
was sitting there watching the movie alone in my room, and he said, "Have you ever kissed a man? Do you want to?" And I audibly went yes, and then looked around and went, "Oh yeah, I'm alone. Oopsies." I made the joke for myself, I guess.
I guess
And I
so.
laughed at it too, so it worked. I hit the target audience.
I did. I did. So the thing about Reggie and the thing, like, if you do end up watching the other two, he's in the other two more. But the last movie, he's badass. That's all I gotta see. He's a badass
That's
character.
cool. You know what scene I saw that like really reminded of reminded me of our friendship. The one and
Was it the one?
when they're in the television store and they didn't know the cameras were filming them and they're talking about all the
Yes,
the shooting stuff that happened, but out of context, it just sounds extremely gay. It's like that's just me and Tyrese talking on
that's
the
literally
daily.
us.
That's just us on the daily. We're just be like, just talk extremely homosexual as two heterosexual males. It's there's no gayer.
No, I thought that scene
There
was
are
funny.
no gayer people on this planet than heterosexual males talking together. Two heterosexual male two heterosexual males will flirt more than like to get between each other than like a single guy will than a guy will flirt with a girl like in his entire lifetime. It's insane. It's and it's funny because it's not just something that like I've found. It's also something that like a whole lot of people can relate to. It's hysterical. Guy friendships are something for sure. Very very funny.
No, it really is. And which would you say had the best opening scene? The one when we meet them in the first one, or this one when you see them at the KK thing meeting?
Um,
So I thought them like showing up at KK was funny, and I was watching my mother-in-law. She's like, "How anyway? Why?" And Hannah, she said like, why did it send two black guys to the KK?"
I liked it when I liked it when they started the KKK because you went through my brain when they took off their robes. My brain went to the Blazing Saddles scene where it's like, oh, you didn't wash up after your weekly cross burning. You can see it's coming off. It's coming off when Gene Wilder and the actor who played the sheriff were dressed up in the Klan to get into the bad guys area. That was so fun because like that's the only thing that went through my brain was just that scene when they took off their masks. They're all the black guys and oh, it was funny. It was so funny. I laughed a lot.
Because no, I do like that scene of he said, where the white women
Where
at?"
the white women at? Oh, hey boys, look what I got over here. Where the white women at? That's the classic scene. That's a great movie. You should add that to the list. We need to react. We need to do one of these for that.
So you want to recreate it?
Hmm. No, we need to watch that movie.
Is he gonna-
No, we need to watch that movie.
Oh, we should watch it.
We need to,
But what was I about to say about the movie?
I don't know. What were you gonna
Is
say?
there anything? I guess I did like the with the sister involved. It does challenge their friendship a lot more, and that's what I feel like we get. Like, okay, now I'm about to get in. We're about to get into a subject I know you're gonna like. It's about to compare Rush Hour and this. Before I get to that, I just want to say that it does challenge their friendship a lot more, and it kind of reminds me of like Rush Hour, how theirs get challenged throughout the series.
Yeah, I feel like I feel
But
like it not only challenges
especially the third one,
I feel like it not only challenges their friendship, but it makes them sloppier. Uh, makes their police work sloppier as well. Because you know,
because they're like,
of course,
you honestly know he's upset about
yeah,
that.
of course, Martin Lawrence is gonna like be a whole hell of a lot more sloppy just because he's like, I want to protect my little sister, and then Will Smith's also gonna be sloppy because he's like, yo, I like her, so it's kind of added a fun element.
Before we do compare Rush Hour and Bad Boys, I want to read the overview for Bad Boys 3 and 4 real quick.
All right.
So Bad Boys, it's Bad Boys for Life. Oh no, yeah, Bad Boys for Life. The wife and son of a Mexican drug lord embark on a vengeance quest to kill those involved in his trial and imprisonment, including Miami detective Mike Lowry. When Mike gets wounded, he teams up with partner Marcus Burnett and Ammo, a special tactics squad to bring the culprits to justice. Without old school, wisecracking cops must soon learn to get along with their new elite counterparts if they are to take down the vicious cartel that threatens their lives. So yeah, they're in this one, and also their friendship also is challenged because I'll say Mike does spoiler. Mike gets shot. Will Smith's character gets shot, and this before that they were racing because what's his name? Martin Lynch's character's daughter's had a baby. He's going to retire, but they were having a race. Say, okay, if I win, if Will Smith wins, you can't retire. If Martin Lynch wins, he gets to retire. So they do this race. He gets shot, and so Martin Lawrence told him like Will Smith doesn't find out till his Martin Lawrence's character's daughter's wedding. He's like, "Yeah, I'm retiring. I don't want to risk my life. I don't want to kill anyone. I'm done with this shit." So like their friendship could challenge more in that one. And the fourth one, Ride or Die. Or, is it right? No, okay, I got them confused. No, I got it right. Ride or Die is when their late police captain gets linked to drug cartels, wisecracking Miami cops Mike Laurie and Marcus Burnett and breaks on a dangerous mission to clear his name. Also, I forgot to mention the captain throughout the series is funny. I do like him.
I agree. He's funny. Um, what a shock that one of the characters gets shot in this movie. Wow, never would have guessed it after the first movie, after the second movie. I never would have guessed that one of them gets
Oh
shot.
no, the captain dies in the third movie. It was kind of sad.
Okay. I mean, it's all right. It happens. A lot of characters die. A lot of characters die.
Yeah, but now we can talk about Rush Hour and Bad Boys, which we're biased. There's some people we're gonna be biased on this one.
So I'm not gonna compare, all three of them to all. I'm not gonna.
No.
I can't do this. I can't do the three comparison to the four comparison, mainly because I haven't seen the last two of Bad Boys. So I'm.
I was gonna say because I was gonna compare the first film.
Yeah, I'm just gonna compare the first two movies to each other. So for the comparison between Rush Hour 1 and Bad Boys 1, I personally think that the dynamic between Chinese Inspector Lee and Loudmouth Carter, I feel like that one left more of a memorable impression of me just because it was like there was that culture barrier and like that what they thought what Carter thought was the language barrier and everything. But I like that one more just because Jackie Chan is so much more of a serious actor, and the moments that he had in there that were funny, or unintentionally funny, were very funny, and like the fact that that Jackie Chan had that more serious acting style really allowed Chris Tucker to carry the comedy part of the movie, and which Chris Tucker did, solely did. So if we're gonna compare one and the first movies of each of these, it's kind of a no contest in my brain about which one wins, which one's funnier, which one had a more lasting memory to me. Not just from I don't want to say solely just because of the nostalgia aspect as well, just because I think that because they're both of these of the first two movies are very buddy cop, very comedy focused, and I feel like Rush Hour beats Bad Boys in the comedy aspect, which would make that a better movie in my opinion.
No, I would say because I was sitting here when I was watching Bad Boys, I'm like, okay, it's hard to compare because you have two different. But to me, I feel like Rush Hour does beat it more because if you could tell, they were more focused on the story than the action scenes and fight scenes. I mean, they cared about it. They do care about it because Jack Chan is known for that. But you got here, Michael Bay's first film. It was good. He was focused on the story more. But once he gets the explosives, is when he didn't care about the story as much, and where he did it. And then I did if you're talking about the chemistry between if Jack Chan, Chris Tucker, and Martin Lawrence, Will Smith, it's kind of hard to compare if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because Jack Chan and Chris Tucker didn't know each other. Obviously, Will Smith and Martin Lawrence did kind of somewhat know of each other.
It's hard to compare. It's hard to compare, but I feel like it's hard to compare because of course they don't know each other, aren't two people that do know each other. But I feel like the way that the metric that you can compare is based off the comedy aspect, and like both Martin Lawrence and Will Smith are comedy actors, which you would think means that those two have a better chemistry, and all the jokes and stuff would be significantly better and be a lot it'd have a lot more of the comedy overtones. But from when I watched it, I felt like since they were comedy like stars, big comedy people, I feel like it was hard to like it was harder to get the comedy out of both of them because I feel like they're both trying to fight for who was funnier, which like isn't a bad thing, but I feel like it just kind of took away from the comedy part of it. Whereas in like Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan are solely different aspects of acting styles, where it's like Jackie Chan never focuses on comedy, focuses on all the action stuff, and that's like his focus. And Chris Tucker focuses on the comedy part, so I feel like that's why those two worked so well together, even though like they didn't know each other. I feel like it worked a whole lot better because it was two different acting styles. They weren't trying to compete with each other to be like for comedy bits.
No, I get that. And again, it's hard to compare two buddy cop films, but by the end of the day, we already know our hearts as to in Rush Hour. I mean, other people can disagree with me and you. It's our opinion, but
They can disagree,
it's
but
better.
they can disagree, but they're wrong. Like they can have the wrong opinion. It's everyone has the right to their own opinion, even if it's wrong. It happens. I mean, that. There's nothing wrong with
You know
that.
what?
Nothing wrong with that at all.
You guys can just watch the both, and then they'll let me and Aiden know, like, hey, you're wrong, even though we know we're not wrong. We're kind of right. Like,
And if you say
people,
and
it's biased too. Like, it's biased because, like, yes, you grew up in the films, and I watched them as a kid. And there's people who like, oh, I grew up on Bad Boys, or someone who never watched both, and someone who never watched both and just watched them both and compare. I bet you $5 they're gonna say, oh, Rush Hour's better because blah 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 than Bad Boys.
yeah, and like I I feel like with um the whole buddy cop genre kind of died out in the early 2000s, and there have been sequels and stuff happen. Like of course like the last two Bad Boy films happened like in the 2020s. So like, but I feel like another aspect of why I think Rush Hour franchise is funnier, maybe like I guess better. I don't want to use that word, but that's kind of the right word. I feel like the reason, excuse me, it's better is because it took significantly less time for all the Rush Hour movies that are out to be out. Like for Bad Boys, it took like
Years.
like it took 1995 to 2003. Like it's like what 8 years? It took 8 years from 1 to 2, and then from 2 to 3 was 17 years, and then 3 to 4 was like 4 years. So I feel like I not to say that like that is a reason that Rush Hour is better, because like all three movies kind of came out a lot closer together, which means they had the chemistry was better, like the writing and stuff, like they kind of knew what direction they wanted to go. Because I feel like the 17-year gap between 2 and 3, there were so many different revisions. Like if there was a story, there's so many different revisions. Like it completely changed from like one time to the next time, and every time they pitched it, I guarantee it would have, or I imagine it would have changed. The story would have changed a whole lot. So like it's hard when there's that big gaps in the story, and then of course you gotta worry about like the age of the actors and stuff, and what kind of stuff they're physically able to do and whatnot. So like it's a lot of stuff that like that's why I feel like Rush Hour's better series in my opinion than Bad Boys is, just because it happened.
Also, before we finish up, I do have a correction to make.
Okay.
I was wrong about the Rush Hour movie when I said there were people in the background. Aiden made sure, like he was rewatching the first one. He's like, Tyrese, you lied. There's no one in the background when the girl runs.
Yeah. So
oh,
I rewatched it with my roommate. Rewatched Rush Hour 1 with my roommate because he forgot about it. Well, he said he hasn't watched it or forgot about it, something like that. And we were watching it, and it's the part when the girl gets kidnapped, and so like the car gets taken to a secluded area, and then the drivers get killed, and the girl starts running, and Tyrese on the episode is like, oh yeah, there's like people in the background. Why they not stop and help? As I was rewatching, I'm like, well, there's no people. A van pulls up in the T part of the intersection, and then the motorcyclist comes up behind her and grabs her and throws her in the van. Like, there's no one around there. It's a secluded, empty area. Everyone's in cop uniform, so
I'm sorry, everyone.
Yeah. So he's wrong, and
I'm sorry, everyone. I was wrong. So that I guess that negative didn't matter.
Yeah, I gotta distrust him a little bit.
Yeah. When you texted that, you said lied. I'm like, lied about what? Like, what did I do? Because I was having a rough day that day. You're like, oh, the rush hour room. I'm like, oh, okay. Sorry, Aiden. You know, I kind of figured you were gonna pull your facts out.
Yeah, I had to. It's my integrity. I have to do it.
But is there anything else you want to say about Bad Boys before we end it today?
You should watch them if you haven't.
They're long. I mean, so I was going to touch on this. You can't. Oh, I know people are like, "Oh, about the Fast and Furious movies, like they're long going." That's different to me because they're never rebooted.
I'm not watching 10.
It's like a series that won't end.
There's 10 movies. There's like 10 movies. Like,
they're making 11.
And well, the only ones you need to the only Fast and Furious movies you need to watch is up to Fast 5 or 6. Whenever Paul Walker dies and is no longer in the series, that's the end. That's in my opinion.
7. He dies in 7.
7. So 7 is in my opinion, that's the end of Fast and Furious movies. All the other movies after Fast and Furious, I haven't watched, don't care about, because 1 through 7 are the Fast and Furious movies, and I will include Tokyo Drift, even though Paul Walker's not in that movie a lot, but I do like Tokyo Drift a lot because Han is cool.
Mm-hmm. And one day we might talk about them, but if we talk about them, we're gonna break them up into
each
episode at a time because now realizing trying to do all of one franchise is so long and time consuming, and we have lives.
Yeah, it's really hard to watch 4 plus hour. Well, I guess if a movie's like an hour and a half or 2 hours, it's really hard to watch 8 hours of stuff when you have Tyrese has a baby and a job, and I'm finishing college and have a job. It makes stuff a lot harder. Makes it hard to find time.
Yeah, it does. It does make it tough. So moving forward, we will break them up more of episodes of, like, if we talk about a big franchise like Fast and Furious, maybe one day. You never know. But it's like Avatar, and there's 2 of them. I think. Well, actually, I need to break it up because those movies are like 2 hours long each.
Yeah, and
and that's 4 hours. I'm not gonna get back.
Yeah, I remember the first Avatar was all right. Haven't even. I forgot the second one came out. Haven't even thought about watching it.
Yes. Yeah, I don't even. I don't plan. I have my own personal thoughts about Avatar, but we're not gonna talk about that today.
All right, wrap it up, Tyrese. Let's get.
Wrap it up. But again, thank you again, Aidan, for today.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys, how you're listening to this, the first episode is out. It released. What's today's date? January 24th. So if you haven't listened to it, please listen to it. We talked about the first Rush Hour, and it was the first one, and it was all right. We're getting hang of this throughout we go. But thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you guys next time. The social media, I forgot about that. The social media side. Probably after the 4th podcast we do, I'll start getting it up because I want your guys' opinions on it, and maybe probably want your guys' movie suggestions and your thoughts about what we talked about. So thanks for listening. You guys have a good day. Thank you, Aidan. Have a wonderful day.
Bye.